Inevitably, a long life can pass by many milestones. My own is no exception.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're counting down our picks for the 10 greatest moments from the reign of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
We should take comfort that while we may have more still to endure, better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at the Queen's greatest achievements during her lifetime and the grand legacy she has left behind, following her passing in 2022 at the age of 96. Let us know in the comments your favourite memory of Her Majesty the Queen. Number 10. The Queen's Speech. Since 1932, the monarch of the UK has delivered a Christmas speech.
25 years ago, my grandfather broadcast the first of these Christmas messages. Today is another landmark.
The tradition was begun by King George V and was initially broadcast over the radio, but in 1957, 5 years into her reign, the Queen made the decision to broadcast the speech on television.
I very much hope that this new medium will make my Christmas message more personal and direct.
From then on, the televised Queen's Speech became a mainstay of Christmas Day. It's a way for the sovereign to reflect on the year and restate their role as the country's head of state.
Christmas can be hard for those who have lost loved ones. This year especially, I understand why.
Televising it was part of the Queen's modernisation of the monarchy, making it more accessible and making herself a reliable figure people felt they knew during her life. Number 9. Surviving assassinations. As an extremely prominent public figure, there were numerous unsuccessful attempts on the Queen's life over the years, including 2 in 1981 alone. The first happened during Trooping the Colour that year, when a man named Marcus Sargent fired 6 blanks at Her Majesty, later claiming he wanted to be famous. He was sent to prison for treason for 5 years and apparently regretted the incident. That October, New Zealander Christopher John Lewis also tried to assassinate her during a royal tour to the country, firing a shot that missed. Charles has also had a few attempts made on his life, while Queen Victoria famously had 8 assassins try their luck. Number 8. The Crown Act. Officially the succession to the Crown Act 2013, this landmark piece of legislation reformed the process of succession to the British throne. Previously, male heirs always got priority in the line of succession, and Her Majesty only became the Queen because her father, George VI, didn't have any sons, only her and her sister, the Princess Margaret. Now, the eldest child always takes precedent regardless of gender if they were born after 2011. It also got rid of the necessity for senior royals to get the sovereign's permission to marry. It was just one of many modernizations of the monarchy that the Queen oversaw, abandoning many of its more outdated traditions. Number 7. The London Olympics and Diamond Jubilee. 2012 was a massive year for the UK. Not only were we chosen to host the Summer Olympic Games that year in London, but it was also the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, a celebration of 60 years on the throne. Both events were monumental, and Britain came third on the medal table at London, with the event opened by the Queen herself. During the Jubilee, there were celebrations up and down the country and across the Commonwealth. We even got a 4-day weekend. The biggest part of the occasion was the pageant on the River Thames, followed by a massive outdoor concert in front of Buckingham Palace. Number 6. Annus Horribilis. Not every event in the Queen's long reign was necessarily a good thing, but we have to admire her character and dedication to duty for making it through her Annus Horribilis, or horrible year, in 1992. The royals were steeped in controversy that year, with 3 of the Queen's children, Charles, Andrew and Anne, all going through very public divorces after each of their marriages broke down. Charles and Diana's infidelities were made known, and a terrible fire ravaged Windsor Castle. But despite all that, Her Majesty made it through and showed the country that we can all withstand devastating events.
In the words of one of my more sympathetic correspondents, it has turned out
to be an annus horribilis.
It's certainly an example worth looking at in 2022 following her passing. Number 5. Visiting Ireland. In July 1911, King George V visited Dublin as part of a tour to mark his coronation. He was to be the last British monarch to officially visit Ireland for an entire century, as shortly after this, 26 counties of the island's 32 total became the Irish Free State, and eventually the Republic of Ireland, after winning the Irish War of Independence.
Uachtaráin agus a coisa.
In 2011, Her Majesty made a formal state visit to Ireland, the first visit ever by a British monarch to Ireland since its independence from the UK, and indeed, since the end of the Troubles.
It is a sad and regrettable reality that through the history our islands have experienced more than their fair share of heartache, turbulence and loss.
It signified that finally, there was genuine and long-lasting peace between Great Britain, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland. Number 4. Decolonisation. In the post-war years, the Queen oversaw the almost total decolonisation of the British Empire. Countries wanted their freedom from British rule after helping in the war, and, finally, this was granted. Imperial Britain was replaced with the Commonwealth of Nations. Though the Commonwealth officially began in the 1930s, it grew immensely during the Queen's reign, and the Commonwealth was one of the Queen's greatest prides and something she always prioritised during her time on the throne.
I feel enormously proud of what the Commonwealth has achieved, and all of it within my lifetime.
Today, the Commonwealth has 56 member states, 14 of which still have the British monarch as the head of state. She visited every single Commonwealth nation at least once. Number 3. Coronation. Most British monarchs have had formal coronations, with a few exceptions. Edward VIII, for instance, wasn't on the throne long enough to have a coronation before his abdication, but the Queen's coronation was a landmark event. It also came just when rationing from the war was finally ending and 8 years after peace had finally been achieved in Europe, creating a monumental atmosphere of celebration in what was one of the most watched television events ever at the time. It was also broadcast internationally and viewed far beyond the UK and the Commonwealth, with even American viewers tuning in to watch Elizabeth II formally sworn in as the Queen. Number 2. The war efforts. Though she was still just Princess Elizabeth at the time, we would certainly be remiss not to mention the Queen's contribution to the war effort during the 1940s. It was an early indication of her lifelong commitment to duty that, even when she was only a teenager and heiress presumptive, she joined the Women's Auxiliary Territorial Service. She also made many radio broadcasts to keep up Britain's morale, sometimes accompanied by Princess Margaret, including her first speech to the public on October 13th, 1940.
God will care for us and give us victory and peace. And when peace comes, remember, it will be for us, the children of today.
This was just when the UK's victory in the Battle of Britain was becoming clear, and we neared the end of the Blitz. The stability she helped provide during the war lasted for the rest of her life. Number 1. Longest reigning monarch. In 2015, Queen Elizabeth II officially became the longest reigning monarch in Britain's history. It looked for a long time that she was going to beat the previous record of 63 years and 7 months set by Queen Victoria, who ascended to the throne when she was just 18. Her Majesty was on the throne for a little over 70 years, celebrating her Platinum Jubilee earlier in 2022. This is the only Platinum Jubilee in the history of the UK, and given the extraordinary circumstances that led to the Queen's long reign, it could perhaps be the only Platinum Jubilee we'll ever have, as it seems unlikely another monarch would take the throne at such a young enough age to enable a 7-decade reign again. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.